Today I'm going to discuss the Johnny Depp and Amberheard case. So, just to give a little backstory, Johnny and Amber got divorced in 2016. Amber filed for divorce first and got a restraining order against Johnny and citing that her husband had abused her throughout their whole relationship. They then released a joint statement together saying that Amber had dropped the restraining order and that they don't have ill feelings towards each other and that neither of them um, have made false abuse accusations against each other to gain anything, and that they were just parting ways. But then, in 2018, Amber wrote an opinion piece for the Washington Post. And in it, she said that she had survived sexual violence and got the retribution of the world. Even though Amber did not name Johnny in this opinion piece, it was obvious that it was about him. So when Johnny saw this, he was clearly not having any of it and filed a defamation lawsuit that is ongoing now, which we will be discussing in this video. Johnny had many ex-girlfriends and wives that have all spoken their support and have come to his defense in his UK trials when he was in a liability lawsuit. Amber, on the other hand, can't say the same. Amber was in a domestic partnership with Tasha Venry because gay marriage wasn't legal back then in California, so they considered themselves to be married though. And in 2009, got in a heated altercation in an airport in Seattle with Tasha. This is where she grabbed her wife and struck her. She was arrested in Seattle for a misdemeanor, domestic violence, but she was released the next day, and the prosecutor dropped the charges because the couple lived in California and it would be too much of a hassle to go between state lines. The privilege. Several people commit crimes every day, all the time, between state lines, yet they don't get away with it. Years later, Tasha Venry told People magazine that this was an over-sensationalized event and described the officers as homophobic and misogynistic. But get this, the arresting officer was a gay woman who said that she witnessed the assault and that's why she arrested Amber. There was an incident on May 27th where Amber was spotted leaving with a restraining order against her ex-husband from an LA courthouse. There was a bruise on her face and the millions of paparazzi in front of the courthouse. Not the back, in front of the courthouse. Why was Amber leaving in front of the courthouse? From the front doors, not the back, so she was not trying to hide anything. The paparazzi assumed it was from Johnny. Amber had alleged that she had been abused by Johnny on May 21st, the day after his mom had died. The public didn't know that Amber had already filed for divorce on May 23rd. So, Johnny owned several penthouses in downtown LA, and for the 4 years of Amber's and Johnny's relationship, many of Amber's friends had lived in and worked out of these penthouses rent-free. Imagine. And the marriage has started to crumble at this point, so who has motive to try and keep everything? So, according to everyone involved, the reason that Amber had a bruise on her cheek on May 21st when she was leaving the courthouse was because of an incident that would be known as Poopgate. So, Poopgate was a huge blowout fight between Amber and Johnny on her 30th birthday. Johnny was nearly 2 hours late for her birthday party, and all hell broke loose. Johnny ended up fleeing his own house later that night and to get away from Amber, and Johnny's security guard, when he picked him up, insisted to take a picture of his face. This is the picture. The next day, Amber leaves for her birthday trip to Coachella, and Johnny's longtime housekeeper would find in the marital bed to what she believes to be human feces. Horrifying. Poor woman that she has to see that and clean it. She sent a picture to Johnny of the feces, and that's when he knew that his marriage was over. Amber later confessed to leaving the feces on the bed and said that it was a harmless prank. after adamantly denying that it was her and blaming it on their two dogs, who were both too tiny to get on the bed and were not capable of leaving feces that size. I can't imagine being so mad at someone that it would cause me to poop on their bed. Like, and then blame it on the two dogs? Poor dogs. So Amber Heard's team, later on when filing for divorce, say that night Johnny got very heated and violent over something that was utterly untrue. And that's what caused her to have a bruise on her cheek when she was leaving the courthouse. So it's the poopgate that they're talking about, but they never mention it. Like, they never mention the poopgate incident specifically. Now imagine if this was actually true, right? That your partner was accusing you of pooping in their bed, and you're done. You want to leave. You want a divorce. Imagine that not being the first thing you mention in the case, and being like, listen to my whack job husband saying that I pooped in the bed. Very sus that she didn't mention that. So that's a tiny backstory of some of the big events that happened in their relationship that led up to them being in court years later. Now I'm going to talk about what I think about this whole thing happening in real time. It just bothers me that he never admitted to abuse, yet he gets blacklisted. And she did admit to abuse in audio recordings. Everyone heard it, and she gets multi-million-dollar roles. The double standard shouldn't be tolerated. They were both bad for each other, but I think Amber was definitely abusing him both physically and psychologically. And the way that Amber was looking at Johnny the whole trial, people are saying, how can you look at your abuser in that way? It also takes away from both of their credibility because they were both on drugs at the time. I really think they are both sick. One might be definitely sicker than the other, but they're both sick. Johnny's exes have come out and said that they've never experienced abuse with him. Johnny talked about his mother's 2 failed suicide attempts after his dad had left, and Amber knew that and was basically using it against him. So when they would fight and he would try to leave, Amber would start saying, no, I can't live without you. If you leave, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna unalive myself. He obviously cared for her enough that he stayed and didn't want to risk the possibility of Amber possibly unaliving herself. This is serious psychological warfare. Like, I think Johnny Depp doesn't have any expectation of winning this lawsuit. Explaining himself is the whole point. He's not there to win a defamation lawsuit. He's there to win his life back. Like, in my opinion, I think he really just wants to be heard by the world because he's characterized as this abuser, especially when he was the one getting physically assaulted. I think Amber will end up being the poster child for domestic abuse, but just not the way she had imagined. Everything that comes out from this case is just making it worse for both of them, and there's no real winner in the end. Johnny is out of work now, but Amber is still filming Aquaman. What is this? Isn't it fair that they both don't get work? Especially since he didn't admit to it, as I said before. It's insane. Also, Amber has been copying Johnny's style these last few days. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the 3-piece suit, the ponytail, the clear-rimmed glasses, it's very trippy. Some say it's a manipulative move to mess with his head. He wears a gray suit, she wears a gray suit. He wears a scarf, she wears a scarf. He wears a 3-piece suit, she wears a 3-piece suit. Anyway, she starts secretly recording him in bad moments after his lawyers tell her that he wants a postnup, which is a contract created by spouses after entering into a marriage that outlines the ownership of financial assets in the event of a divorce. And she's not listed in his will. I get the impression that Amber has a lot of narcissistic traits and tendencies. I feel like Johnny probably drank and did drugs to cope with her confrontational personality. He has said before that he only drinks to numb his emotions and not just for the fun of it.
In this text, Mr. Depp, you text Mr. Bettany, let's burn Amber, 3 exclamation points, right? You see that?
I do see that.
And at this time, June 11, 2013, Amber is your girlfriend or perhaps even your fiance at this point, correct?
Girlfriend,
Yeah.
for sure.
And you didn't stop when you said, let's burn Amber. Because the next text down, you can move down and blow up the next text, please, Michelle. You say, let's drown her before we burn her. 3 exclamation points. Did I read that right?
Yes, it's referring to the
you
text
didn't-
prior to.
You didn't
from Mr.
stop when you
Bettany.
said, let's drown her before we burn her. After that, you made another comment. And I'd like to apologize to the court and to the jury for some of the language that I'm going to have to use today. But unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of documents with language like this. After you said, let's drown her before we burn her, Mr. Depp, you said, I will fuck her burnt corpse afterwards to make sure she is dead. That's what you said that you would do after you burned her and after you drowned her. Did I read that right?
You certainly did, yes.
And you wrote that about the woman who would later become your wife.
Yes, I did.
If I were in jury, I would not consider these text messages as literal, but Johnny's way with words. They seem damaging, of course, but I see through it. He was being psychologically and physically abused. Amber was talking with her words and fists, while Johnny was venting through text messages. Like, that does not in any way excuse what he said about her, of course not. But Johnny has consistently spoken in hyperbole, simile, and allegories, so we can see that it's in his vernacular. We've only seen Johnny's dirty laundry aired out, since he's the only one being cross-examined so far. And the defamation this entire trial is supposed to be about is how he was accused of domestic violence and sexual abuse. But Amber's legal team is just focusing on his substance abuse. His texts are obscene, but texts don't equate to abuse in person, which they so far have no evidence of, especially since the texts weren't sent to her. Like, when you watch the court videos, or if you've watched the court videos, you'll see that just the attorney of Amber is just focusing on his drug abuse, his alcohol abuse, and not really going in on the physical and sexual abuses being accused of. They're just hammering in on the fact that, oh yeah, you're a drug addict, you're drunk all the time, which most of the time, Johnny said, like, no, he's disputing it. I was not drunk in this specific situation. And keep in mind that Amber was also drunk most of the time that these events have transpired. So I don't know what the attorneys are trying to get at here. And words on a page are less shocking than hearing it being screamed at in an audio, which we heard Amber do to Johnny.
After you fucking got physically violent with me, I texted Travis. I said, come up here, because I didn't want anything to happen.
I mean, yeah.
Is coming what? Save me?
No, go ahead. Continue. You Travis to the rescue.
No, that was the last one. You can go, you go. That was the last insult.
Oh, yeah. You called me a liar, and yet
I watched you lie.
you called me a liar.
I watched you lie. I
You're
heard it. I was
bullshit.
right there.
There's no what. You still haven't told me what lie it is.
We'll talk
But
to-
yet, every single fucking time.
We'll talk
You know
to
you do this
Travis.
every single fucking
We'll
time.
talk to Travis.
I'm not fucking talking to nobody.
No,
Fuck
because
that.
you
You go
fucking-
go jerk him off. I don't care. I really could care less. It's you every single time. You latch onto some sort of thing. When I already told you, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. You still haven't even told me what it is. But run with it.
I have told you what it is.
No, you haven't.
I said to Travis, I said to you, hey, tell Travis what just happened. You
Oh,
can
you
care
told me
less.
to do it. You
Yeah.
told me to. You said, go do that.
I said, no, tell him what just
And
happened.
I lied.
And that you punched me in the
You're right.
fucking thing, and you
You
hit me
figured
in the
it
face,
out.
and you said, no, no, I didn't. What the fuck are you talking about? And I
didn't
watched
punch
you lie, and then
I
I
didn't
said,
punch you,
and
by
then
the
I-
way. I'm sorry that I didn't
You,
hit
punched
you
me.
across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
You know, even a lot of fights been around a long time. I know. Yeah.
No, when you fucking have a closed
You
fist.
didn't get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not fucking deck you. I fucking was hitting you.
You can't
I don't know
deck
what
me.
the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
How are your toes?
What am I supposed to do? Do this?
How are your toes?
I'm not sitting here bitching about it, am I? You are.
Oh,
That's the difference between me and you. You're a fucking baby.
Because you start physical fights?
Such a baby!
Because
Grow
you,
the fuck up,
because you start
Johnny.
physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did, so I had to get the fuck...
I was not punching you. I was hitting you. Excuse me? Is that supposed to make a difference? She gaslights him, then calls him a baby for what? Not hitting her like she did? Like she started physical fights with him? My god. And then she records him when he's in a bad mood and uses it against him.
What happened? Nothing happened this morning, you know that?
Were you in here?
No.
So then nothing happened to you this morning?
Yeah, you're right. I just woke up and you were so sweet and nice. We were not even fighting this morning. All I did was say sorry.
Did something happen to you this morning? I don't think so.
No, that's the thing.
You want to see crazy? I'll give you fucking crazy. That's crazy. Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy.
Have you drunk this whole thing this morning?
Oh, you got this going? You got this going?
I just started it.
Oh, really? Really? Sneak that shit on me,
No,
motherfucker.
I didn't. You were smashing shit.
Bye.
For this
That's your house.
illegally recorded tape. Do we have a date or a metadata or anything on that?
Why don't we, since you have some questions about it, why don't we watch it again?
Oh, I've
Play
seen
it
it.
again,
Honey.
Mr. Shell. Okay, you know what, we don't have to do that.
That's good.
We don't have to do that. This is at your house in West Hollywood on Sweetser Avenue, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And that's you in the video, Mr. Depp, right?
That's correct, sir.
And you would agree that you were violent in that clip, correct?
Clearly, I was having a bad time. I don't know what it was with regard to completely at this point, since I don't know the date. But being illegally recorded by your chosen other is, well, it's quite fitting with the rest of the photographs and tape recordings she made. So I thought what was most interesting is that she tried to hide it from me, and then that she laughed and smiled at the end. I thought that was the most interesting part myself. But so yes,
You didn't react
I did assault a couple of cabinets, but I did not touch Miss Heard.
And,
As you can see, I think,
and you may have been drunk in that video, correct?
there's a possibility of that, yes, sir.
You poured yourself a mega pint of red wine, correct?
A mega pint.
Yeah.
I poured myself a large glass of wine.
Right.
I thought it necessary.
How sad. When he was beating up cupboards because his mom had died that morning, Amber was insensitive and recorded him, egging him on and innocently asking what happened. Like, you know what happened. She's just doing that for the recording that she's already set up. To film a man who just had millions of dollars stolen from him from a person he believed to be a friend, and on the day his mother died, and to use that as an example of his abusive nature is sickening. Given the terrible events that transpired that morning, he was remarkably composed. We need to stand up for men being able to speak out about domestic violence. Johnny chucked the phone on the sofa, not at her. One time he was holding her arms because she was throwing things at him, and their heads touched. What does she say? He headbutted her. He hasn't touched her with any intent. He was literally restraining her to protect himself. Like, I see women all the time, like, hitting their boyfriends and saying, oh, like, it's just for fun, for a laugh. Can you imagine a guy doing that? Men can't defend themselves because they are seen as bigger and stronger, and so they are the abuser, and they're just supposed to sit there and take it. That is totally not fair. This case isn't just celebrity gossip, and it isn't a toxic relationship. I hate that people want to label it that way. Because when a male screams abuse, everyone's like, "Oh, he was toxic to her. Like weren't they both toxic to each other?" No, like abuse goes both ways. Me Too should be for men too. Like, where are the men's shelters? What is insane to me that like they divorced 6 years ago and he is still having to deal with her nonsense. I cannot fathom. Narcissistic physical abuse is gross. These abusers just cannot take their claws out of their victim. What a nightmare. Like, the marriage lasted barely a year and the nightmare is 6 times longer than that. The audio tapes say it all, honestly. She admitted to abusing him, told him people wouldn't believe him, and was mad he would try to leave when she would get physically violent every time they fought. Then, when you add in the witness accounts, video footage, medical records, which Amber has none of, and all the evidence, it's very clear Johnny was a victim of Amber's abuse. There are many reasons for Johnny telling the truth. Audio tapes of her admitting to hitting him and throwing stuff at him several times. Many people saying that they saw her after alleged abuse and saw nothing on her face the following days, even penthouse staff. She states that she had bruise drips, yet she went water tubing. She has 0 medical records showing any injuries. Her own makeup artist and photographer said that they didn't see any injuries. She went on many TV interviews and saying that she made the donations from the money she won when she accused Johnny of hitting her 5 days before they went to court. And Johnny agreed to settle the case and paid her $7 million, which is absurd, by the way. And it's not proven she still hasn't made the donations. She pooped in his bed as a prank. She broke her own temporary restraining order to visit him in a motel to try and seduce him while audio recording it. Do you see how manipulative this is? He kicked her out. Her own witnesses never saw him abuse her, ever, and are not testifying for her in court. She did, in fact, throw a bottle that severed his finger and severed the tip completely off. And on audio, she cries saying she's sorry, just to name a few. In a week or two, Amber is going to be in the hot seat and cross-examined. I can't wait to see Amber in that seat. I'm sure it'll be equivalent to a dumpster fire. I have a feeling Johnny's attorneys have so much up their sleeve on Amber, and I'm waiting patiently and can't wait for her to cry me a river shit show. This case is intense and it's still ongoing, and this is just barely scratching the surface of what's going to be transpiring in the next 5 weeks to come. Let me know your thoughts about this case down below, and let me know what you want me to cover next.